got the outdoor coming in, got the indoors going out, and we're back. We're live on Udicci.TV tonight, and we're really kind of excited because we're heading down some new roads. We're new set designs, new set concepts. We're bringing in conversations tonight on Verbum, and that's really kind of a great thing. So a couple things. One of the first things that it's on our heart is the shootings in Charleston, South Carolina. For those of you who have tuned in or watched or know us at all, you know that my wife's home is right down in that area, and it's Charleston is where we look to call home in the near future. That's really where we want to live, and the tragedy down there today is just sitting heavy on our hearts. Without feeding any of the hate, because we refuse to kind of do that. We lost 9 brothers and sisters today of Christ in Christ, and that hurts. That hurts our family, and we want everybody to know, Charleston, South Carolina, around the country, we're with you, and know that Christ will never leave you nor forsake you. We share that common faith, and there are no other words that I know to offer. In Him we will find comfort. In Him we will find strength. And in Him we will find forgiveness and restoration. And I don't want any of that to get lost. And that was the one piece today that was really on my heart. Is, my wife and I, we also lived in Alabama. Of course, this was many years after the civil rights movements and all that happened there. But you can't help but to look back over history today and think about the Birmingham church, bombings there, and those 4 young ladies who were killed. I refuse to let their lives have ended in vain. And I would say that the reason we're opening tonight, really sharing our faith like this, is because they too were in the arms of Christ when the bomb was detonated, and they were in the house of Christ, and Christ was in them. And that faith is something that we have to grasp onto at this time in our lives, because we know He has always been faithful. He has always been true. It's just that times like this, it is difficult. So again, tonight is not about mourning here at Udicci.TV, though our hearts are grieved and our spirits are grieved. Tonight is about hope. Tonight, the entire night, we want it to be about hope. When we begin at 7 o'clock, we're going to go through a discussion about poverty around the country, around the world. We're going to begin by watching a video that uses gumballs to really illustrate the problems with poverty. And then we want to get onto a discussion about how we can actually take what we know to be good and help people in the poverty-stricken situations. Because certainly a lot of hate is bred in poverty. And that is something we can do to help overcome. And then on Real Talk 360 tonight, we're going to have a wonderful lady on who runs the Villa of Hope here in Rochester, New York. And again, just a huge voice of hope, love, and compassion. And that's what tonight's going to be all about. It's going to be all about hope on Udicci.TV. And we're going to be trying a couple other things. When we come back, we're going to go to a quick break here. And I don't know, are we ready to give a shout out to David here? We're actually going to, it's something we just threw together literally about 5 minutes before we came on air, something that we're trying to help a good friend of ours in the local music market is getting ready to go out on a national tour, and he's looking for help. He's looking for help from a lot of sinners. He's looking for help from the sinners. So if you're a sinner like me and you want to help get a message of hope through fantastic music, check this out. Sinners that he hangs around. Oh, okay, hold on. Check it out again.
Guess we should have checked that first.
What's that?
Song that is going to be on the new album. It was written about a friend of mine in Buffalo. She's got quite a story of things she's been through.
Hey, this
this is Chuck Udicci from Udicci.TV, and if you've been watching anything that's been going on over the past year to year and a half, you know how big of fans we are of David Michael Miller and his music and the sinners that he hangs around with, world-class musicians. And if you don't know who his favorite sinners are, you don't know David yet. But I'm going to tell you, we're calling all sinners, sinners like me, sinners like David, and we're saying it's time to step up and bring a message to this country that there is great music out of Rochester, New York, Buffalo, New York, Western New York. All of New York is going to be represented by David Michael Miller, and you have the opportunity to make that dream come true.
Song that is going to be on the new album.
Wait.
Okay. Crap. All right, so a little bit of fun. David is getting ready to release his second CD called Same Soil. For those of you who picked up Poison Sip last year, you probably haven't stopped listening, because I know that we haven't. We always enjoy David's music, and it's going to happen. He's going out on tour. He's going to be going all across the country, and there's currently sponsorships that are available. And David just sent us that little bit of information the other day, so we wanted to give a shout out to him tonight. And certainly, if you have the capacity to sponsor somebody, get a corporate sponsorship, if you have connections, let people hear David's music. And I got to tell you, the music will capture him, but when you listen to the heart, that's exactly the type of man that we need out there right now, speaking to our country. Look, we're all broken. We're all broken. But there's a wonderful song, it's called Broken Together, and maybe if we can just all be good and broken together, we can get through this thing. And tonight, that's kind of the message that I want to have for updates, and it's this. This year, Udicci we came into 2015 with a few kind of key points that we were going to stay focused on. And one of those is that we have everything we need. We have everything we need, and we should want for nothing more. And that's not easy, because we're trying to pull off something that 99.9% of the people have no idea about. And the people who are trying to understand are just starting to get it. And we're trying to pull off something here that is taking a lot of time, it's a lot of stress. But here's what's happening. We're reaching out into the community, and we're hearing more and more entrepreneurs who are out trying to do the same thing, and they're trying to make a difference. And there's so much encouragement, and there's so much hope, that what we just want to keep reminding everybody is we are right where we need to be. I know that things that happen like down in Charleston, we all sit there and go, what is going on? But we need to know that we are right where we need to be. We don't need anything more. We have all that we need. Our nation is hurting, it's even falling apart, but we do have hope. And we need to make sure that we grasp onto that hope and do not let go, because we've never been disappointed by that hope, and it keeps proving true time and time again. So right now, this is a time to transition and say, it's high gear. It's time to move things into a higher gear in life. It's time to start picking up the pace. It's time for us to come together and understand one another and say, what can we do together? And I'm talking about as a nation, and I'm talking about as a community, and I'm talking about as a business and a family and friends. It's time for us to start listening, and it's time for us to start moving. And we can do this together, and we're ready to help. Now, these Udicci updates, I know people are not watching. I wish they were. Because in the next 2 to 3 months, you will not recognize what's going on. We are to develop, our social platform is getting ready to launch. We have a complete plan to make differences in communities all around our country by empowering the member-owned credit unions in each of our communities. So it's really an exciting time. And we want people to know that, and we want them to know that there are far more people out there in the streets today working for good than working for hate. And good will always prevail. And as we say that, the man of the hour steps in, and Julio is joining us. And I guess, I don't know, where are we on our agenda here tonight? I know we don't have a format for here yet.
No. 6:42.
6:42. So why don't we? What's that?
Your clock on?
All right. It's 6:42. Let's go ahead and go to a break. And when we come back, we'll talk about something.
Ready?
So we just realized that we're going to need crossing guards with our new setup, so we can get somebody to direct traffic or whatnot. But we were talking about this earlier. It's like that being right where it is that we need to be. We were having a conversation earlier that I guess I just want people to know that there's this feeling that, Tim, it was interesting. You described it really interesting that if you allow yourself to think about it, you said it was like you were reversing polarity. And that you were like beginning to push in a new direction.
Right.
Okay.
I think I'm on. Hopefully they
Think
can
you're
hear me. Hopefully. I'm watching levels too.
Are you guys watching the fly? Can you see the fly on the thing?
There's somewhere.
There's a fly. We'll get the fly. Anyways, you were saying that like you felt like you were kind of reversing polarity, and
No, I felt like I had some sort of a reverse polarity in me.
like
Everything was kind of
changing. There was like a change. It was like a folding of inside out kind of thing.
Yep.
And I think that's what I would like to admit. We're actually in a season where like all things are becoming new. All things that were made for a purpose are becoming new again. And again, if you look on the signs, you can check that out through faith. I know the astrology signs. Everything's talking, and people are talking about the coming of new age, the coming of something new, and it's going to be good. And I'm with you. I think that there's been a new power released, and perhaps it's just right here in Rochester, New York. Maybe it's just now beginning here in Rochester, New York, but there is something happening that is permeating out, and it's going out, and it is good.
apparently.
What's that?
Apparently, yes. There's lots of people talking just not only the church networks, but in the city, and even around some of the upstate New York areas. I mean, you look at the stuff going on in Buffalo right now, and Syracuse I hadn't really heard much about, but Buffalo definitely.
Yeah, and you're right. There's like a whole bunch of things percolating that are starting to pop, and in such, again, our world, we tend to see a lot from the economic development side, but we're also seeing more people get involved with people, get involved with communities. There's just a movement for good. I know there was recently a new article about these 4 benefit corporations. I think they're IRSB corporations, whatever they are, but that's gaining traction. There's just traction starting for what's going to be this whole new world of people caring for one another, both financially, personally, spiritually. It's beginning.
Yeah, it definitely looks to be beginning.
And maybe it is that we have to go through these rough waters, right, before you can kind of get to the smooth sailing. I mean, You always hear about that kind of
Rough
stuff.
waters.
What's that?
I feel like I've been in a hurricane for about 5 years.
A hurricane, that works, right? I mean, that's the whole, yeah, it's just being like blown.
Tossed around.
Right? But it's not like you ever, but you know, it's like you've been battered, you've been bruised, but you've not left the ground. You're still planted.
Right.
You're still, you know, so you're still on track. And so, yeah, it's happening. It's happening right here in Rochester. You know, and I'm sure little by little we're going to start hearing about it around the rest of the country. But people are getting on board about making a difference, and they're setting aside all the asinine differences and getting to the heart of matters, and really trying to find where we have more in common and how we can, you know, really appreciate one another. And I just lost my conversation. He just walked away. He just walked away. So that's kind of what happens. I guess on live streamed podcasts, when you lose your producer, and you go on to...
You just kind of lost him temporarily.
What is going on here? So when we come back...
Oh, now we're going to... Good thing I came back.
Yes, when we come back, we will talk a bit about community commerce and where that's going and how we're going to get there and why Julio should already be completely aware of what I'm about to say. But he's not. Stay tuned.
You're right, you got me.
So we're gonna. Mike's on low.
What's that?
Mics are on low.
Okay. Is it?
Build see
Built?
Yeah.
Is it? Wow. So it still just sits there and builds?
Shit, you can hear everything
All right.
clear as day, even when it turned all the way down.
What's that noise?
Audio's back on.
Audio's back on? Fireworks! Alright, and we are back. Alright, well, we're expecting some guests to begin showing up at any time. And, hopefully they'll kind of join us here. We'll settle some stuff in. But, so we're going to talk a little bit about community commerce. And I guess what we're going to start doing is just sharing more and more about how it is we're going to start accomplishing some of the things you've heard us talk about over the past year, and we're going to start really introducing people more and more to our system, how that they can get involved, how they can make a difference in their community. And we're starting right here in Rochester. And I guess earlier we kind of came up with a phrase that's we build entrepreneurs because entrepreneurs build communities. And I think at the core and at the heart of what it is that we are working toward, that's exactly the case. We're currently offering here in Udicci Studios a course called Brand New You, where we actually help small businesses kind of organize their business life, organize their personal life, help get control of social media, help get focused on accomplishing the goals in their business. We have classes that we're offering to teach branding. We have support systems on our technology system to help facilitate all of that, not all of your small business needs. And we're tying that back to local credit unions who help facilitate the bookkeeping ends of it, if you will, the financial transactions, so that these small businesses can more focus on what they're good at, get the help where it is they need the help, get the wisdom and collective years of financial experience that the credit union markets bring, and we can really begin making a difference. Now, a lot of people don't necessarily get what does all that mean, and that's okay. That's where we're heading, is toward community commerce. And one of the things that I need people to really hear is that credit unions are non-profit, member-owned financial institutions. So that simply means they exist not for the purpose to profit, other than the members who own them. So if you are a member of a credit union where you have an account there, or you have something else like Lexington Federal Credit Union, you go down, you open up an account, you become a member owner. And member owner credit unions have the authority to distribute dividends if there is a profit. Now you'll see that very common in some of the bigger credit unions. You hear about the owner dividends program, but imagine credit unions being as profitable and more profitable than today's commercial banks, and you being an owner of that credit union. It would be like each and every year getting an additional tax refund check. If you actually put your money to work in your community and you help others in your community get to work, the more you do that, the more you do what you already do, but simply switch over to working with credit unions who are dedicated to community commerce, then suddenly your community starts profiting. And we, at a grassroots level, begin moving everything up. So that's really what you're going to hear us talking a lot more about. And whenever you hear updates about what's going on in our system, it's toward that goal this year. That is exactly where we want to be by December of this year, and that is exactly where we are right now. If you'd like to learn more about that, please stop down to Udicci, the Udicci studios. We're actually building kiosks that are going to be deployed throughout different locations around communities where you can more easily do your banking, catch up on what it is you need to do, make connections in the town. And you don't even have to be a small business member to actually benefit from all of this. You simply have to be a person who banks. Something we all do, isn't it? So that's community commerce. And really, that's about it for updates tonight. We're a few minutes early, so is there anything that you would like to add, Tim?
Turning my mic back on. No, I don't think so. I think you pretty well covered that.
All right. I guess we should share that, like, we've now got, I forgot all about this. We've got our new to the studio. We have some new art put up by Betsy Phillips. And the series is called Entanglement. It's the Entanglement series, and it's black and white photos of trees, and just she really captures something that we see each and every day, but sometimes don't take the time to really appreciate what's right in front of us. So she's going to be here. She's going to be up for first Friday, second Saturdays, every Thursday through July 8th, so you can stop down and see some of her work. We appreciate that. You'll see another piece when we flip over to the Cultivate set, if you want to give a little shout from that.
I just did the 2 pictures though.
What's that?
I just did the 2 pictures.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
okay.
You didn't see me cycle the 2 pictures?
No, I didn't see that. So she's over here. Now over on the other side, we've got the King of Diamonds from our friends down at Blue Toucan Studios. We appreciate all that's happening. More sponsorships are available. And yeah, I guess we'll just head back, and we'll be back here in about 7 minutes.
Oh, hold on. Got it.